Well, here on Monday evening across the United States, every state has some type of warning, watch, advisory, with the exception of North Dakota. You don't see this very often. It is extremely busy out there. And things are really just getting started. We've got that storm moving through the country now. Check this out. Places that are seeing snow now and severe weather may see another round as we head toward the weekend. That's not the end. We have another storm behind that. And if you're hoping for snow in the south, this right here might be your chance. We're going to talk about all of this today, so stick around. Hi everyone, I'm Travis Roberts. I'm a former TV chief meteorologist. This is a brand new channel, so make sure you subscribe to get these updates. Let's just jump straight into it. We're going to start with the current forecast map from the Weather Prediction Center. You know, these guys at the National Weather Service, some of the sharpest guys that I've ever had the pleasure of working with, and I think they do a great job. It's one of the reasons I like to kind of get an overview, and then we'll dig into these details. But look at the severe weather across the south. This area highlighted for severe thunderstorms, heavy rain across Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. These same places also across Texas. We've seen severe weather today with tornadoes. And then to the north, heavy rain here across Tennessee. That rain all moves east heading into tomorrow. Potential for some mixed precip overnight into the Appalachians. Most of this will turn to rain, but then this is where we're looking for the heavy snow. Blizzard conditions across Kansas right now, parts of western Oklahoma. That also continues into southeast Colorado, and all of that is moving to the north and east into Nebraska, northern Missouri, Iowa. The heavy snow is also moving your way tomorrow as we move into Illinois with more big-time snows across the Cascades as our next system moves in, and this will be storm number 2 that may bring more snow to these same areas later this week. We're not done with the active weather. Heading into Tuesday, the severe threat shifts into Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, even southeastern Virginia. Heavy rain threat up and down the east coast seaboard, and in this severe weather threat, the potential is there for some more tornadoes. So if you live in this area, make sure you have a way to get weather warnings. Weather.gov is always the best place to go. Make sure you have your phone with you. If not, NOAA Weather Radio is a great way to make sure you get those warnings when they come out. You'll definitely want to be weather aware in these areas. Then the heavy snow spreads from Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan. It moves into the Great Lakes. So from Madison, Green Bay, back to Des Moines, we are seeing some heavy snow here, even close to Chicago. I think just west of town, once you get out toward Rockford, we're definitely going to see that heavy snow. And then again, everything's starting to shift off to the north and east. The severe weather threat's certainly there, especially along the Gulf Coast where there's an enhanced threat, slight risk also just to the north of that with a marginal threat. Tornadoes, definitely possible. The National Weather Service at the Storm Prediction Center has hashed this area for an enhanced area to see the potential for some tornadoes. So here we're talking about Houston, east of that into New Orleans, Mobile. A definite night where you want to have a way to get weather warnings, specifically tornado warnings or severe thunderstorm warnings if they get issued, because wind damage certainly possible here as well. On Tuesday, we're not done with the thunderstorms. We shift that threat to the east. So now we're talking about Florida, Georgia, the southeastern part of Alabama, up into South Carolina, and even into North Carolina. This forecast is valid from 12Z Tuesday, which would be roughly 7 a.m. Eastern Tuesday through 12Z Wednesday, which would be 7 a.m. Wednesday. That's Eastern time. But again, the threat will be very similar to today. We've got a lot of wind shear, so tornado is the primary threat. We also will see that extend pretty far to the north. We're talking about southeastern Virginia, very close to that Maryland border out here on the eastern shore of Virginia, and then all across the coastal plain of North and South Carolina, and then down along the Gulf Coast, even into Florida. Damaging winds are also possible with these thunderstorms, so this is a threat you want to be weather aware of on Tuesday. Now let's track this system. Overnight on Tuesday, we'll see low pressure moving from parts of Oklahoma heading toward Missouri, eventually right toward Chicago. On the northwest side of that, the heaviest snow will be falling overnight into Tuesday morning. And then as we move into Wisconsin, northern Illinois through the day on Tuesday, that snow will break out. And then into Michigan, we'll see that snow really start to pick up as we move into Tuesday night and then into early Wednesday morning. Out ahead of this system, a lot of rain, a lot of wind. There will be some mixed precipitation along the eastern slopes of the Appalachians, north of, say, Columbus, north of Pittsburgh, and even into Pittsburgh. We could see a bit of a mix early in the day on Tuesday, but then as warm air surges north, everything here will change to rain. Snow and rain moving into the northeast as well, even some mixed precipitation heading into Tuesday evening, but that warm air will continue to surge north here and shift that over to just the plain rain, even as far north as the Canadian border across Vermont, maybe even northern New Hampshire, and then we see a brief transition back to some wintry weather as cold air filters in behind this system. Now let's talk snow totals. We've already got most of the snow out of the way here across Kansas, but some additional accumulations possible. Now we look toward Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, even parts of southern Wisconsin. Some areas here could see more than 12 inches of snow. Right around Chicago, looks like somewhere between 8 and 12 inches. West of town will be where we'll see the most snow, close to Rockford, out toward central parts of Illinois, northern central that is, because once you move into southern parts of the states, we're not seeing much snow. That includes southern Illinois, southern Missouri, southeast Kansas. We're kind of on the warm side here, so I expect that we would see mostly rain here. And then that snow moves into parts of Michigan, even the UP of Michigan. But really, once you get get north of Green Bay, those snow totals start to fall off. Wind is going to be a huge deal with this storm. In fact, we've got high wind warnings in effect for many areas. I saw some of the warnings out of northeast Tennessee, especially into the mountains. Gusts could be up to 85. Maybe some down trees, power outages certainly possible. And that wind field is just huge. Look at these numbers, gusting 40 to 50. Anything over red is really over 58 miles per hour, even close to 60. And then that rain and wind shifts toward the coast. As it does so, not only are we dealing with that severe weather threat tomorrow, but just the winds alone could be a major issue. Onshore flow will also cause the potential for some coastal flooding here. Look at these gusts, 71 here at Hatteras, 76 along the Delaware coast. Even further north and east, these numbers offshore are pushing 80 miles per hour showing up here on the model, and these numbers right along the coast here of Rhode Island into Connecticut, Nantucket out to close to 70 miles per hour. This is a strong storm. And then behind it, winds turning from the northwest, still gusty though, 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts, certainly not out of the question as we turn cold. Now let's talk about the second storm. It's moving into the Pacific Northwest as we move into the day Tuesday. Heavy snow from the Cascades. It starts to push into the Sierra as we move through the day Tuesday and Tuesday night. Also inland into parts of Utah, Idaho, Montana, and even into parts of Wyoming. And we'll really start to see this system dig in, especially into the Southwest and Four Corner states as we move into Wednesday and Thursday as another piece of energy moves through. This will be storm number 2 that potentially could impact the same areas that are seeing heavy snow. We're talking about Illinois, Missouri, maybe even Michigan again. And this one looks like it's a little bit further to the south. Looks like it spares parts of Kansas this time, most of Kansas, I guess I should say, but even further south this time. I think this one tracks a little further south because the cold air will likely be a little stronger with this storm, suppressing things a little bit more than what we're seeing right now. This is just the afternoon run of the European model. And then that system moves toward Lake Erie as we move towards the weekend. Cold air filters in behind it. This is true Arctic air, a big Arctic blast moving into the country as we move into the first part of next week. And then we're watching this piece of energy. It'll be very interesting to see if we can get some vorticity. That would be spinning the atmosphere, move right along this baroclinic zone where you have that huge difference in temperature. We could see a storm start to spin up somewhere in this area. Does that mean we see snow and ice as far as south as Texas? Does it make it into Houston? Well, the operational run of the European says yes. Do I think so? I doubt it. But at this point, it is trying to paint that picture that it is possible. Now, going back 12 hours ago, look, the Europeans still trying to hint at an idea of a southerly storm. Either way, I think there will be much more cold air around next week. Do we get that snow into the Mid-South? Do we get it all the way down into northern Louisiana? Is this our snow that we're going to see in North Mississippi? Man, do we see it into Alabama? If you're going to get a chance, this might be it. And then that system moves into the Northeast, and this could turn really cold for the Appalachians and Ohio Valley next week. A lot going on. Make sure you subscribe. I'll try to keep you updated as much as I possibly can. I hope you have a great day and be safe out there. Again, get all of your weather warnings at weather.gov and make sure, especially if you live in the South, you have a way to get emergency information, a weather radio, a cell phone, something. Have a great and safe day.